Thank you. Good morning. This is officially the informal part of today's presentation. I apologize, I work at Google, I don't own a tie. I am the EMEA lead for accessibility and disability inclusion. My job is to come to Europe, to Africa, to the Middle East, to understand disability, to understand how technology can impact the lives of people with disabilities. Can you hear me? That's better. To understand how technology can impact the lives of people with disabilities, how Google's technology can be adapted to meet those needs. Google's mission is to understand the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. And it's not the world if it doesn't include Africa, and it won't be accessible without intention. Just a few words about Google's relationship with Africa. It's not understood that Google has been on the continent, been in Kenya for 16 years. And in the most recent time, in 2017, we made a commitment to train 10 million people, 10 million Africans with digital skills training to grow their careers in business. And to date, we've trained over 6 million people across 25 countries and reporting an impact on their jobs, careers, and business growth. We've had 80,000 developers trained from every country in Africa, and we've supported more than 80 businesses, raising over $100 million in VC capital. In 2018, we created a site in Ghana, Accra, excuse me, and we've used this site to create AI technologies that help African causes, within which we have created an AI that helps identify buildings and has mapped over 200,000 kilometers. And in 2022, we announced a new development site here in Nairobi. And about 2 weeks ago, we announced 25 new languages in Google Translate, including 10 African languages. But I'd like to talk a little bit about inclusive design, inclusion. Maybe it's me being from Google, but I think about inclusion as like a map. With empathy, you can understand there is an opportunity, there's a challenge somewhere. But by bringing together the community, by working with the community, you can zoom in and have a better understanding of what's there. You can learn where the opportunity is. You can know who to talk to. You zoom in again, and you get to a really closer view. Here are the things that we get to do. I mean, I have a view here of the Trademark Hotel from Google Maps. But there's a Pizza Hut, and there's a Subway. This could be California. This isn't close enough. So now you need to get to what I call a street view, a little pun, but with a street view level of understanding. You know where the people are. You know where the potholes are. You work with the people to understand where the opportunities and what the solutions are, because the people with disabilities can guide you to exactly what this is. But now I want to talk about inclusion, because people aren't just their disability. People are complex. People are multidimensional. There are aspects of race, gender, socioeconomic status, sexual orientation. All of these things matter about what a person is and what their needs might be. So as an example, we at Google realized a couple years ago that smartphone cameras don't take great pictures of darker skin tones. And we took this as a challenge and an opportunity. So we partner with cinematographers, developers, artists, and we realized we have the technology that can do this. So we created a thing called Real Tone. And with this technology, we've been able to create much, much better photographs for people with darker skin tones. Specifically, this allows better face detection, a more nuanced white balance, improved auto exposure, reduced stray light, and less blurry photos. But we're not done there. There's more work that can be done. So to continue, and here's something I want to bring up, accessibility inclusion is not a language of perfection, it's progress. The more you do, the more you learn. The more you do, the better it gets, but you're never going to be done. So we continue to do this work, and we worked with Dr. Ellis Monk, a sociologist and a Harvard professor. And together we are open sourcing what's called the Monk Skin Tone Scale. It's a 10-level scale for skin tones, instead of the 6-point scale that was called the Fitzpatrick scale, developed in 1975. So this work continues. You refine, you get better and better. But we're really here to talk about accessibility, so let me go back into this. Google is passionate about supporting people with disabilities. And in the past year, we've created a first non-US site dedicated towards accessibility. In July of last year, I moved to London to start this group. My responsibility, again, is the EMEA, which is Africa, Europe, and the Middle East. And my dear Sarah Basson, right over here up front, is leading our emerging markets efforts. We are committed to making this work, to understand and do what we can to support all communities. And now we're finally here, in person. We were with Irene when we were trying to do this in 2020. Didn't work out. We participated in each of the virtual conferences, and I want to just a huge shout out to Irene, Esther, wherever you all are. Thank you. It's wonderful to be here. This street view allows us to help understand what technology can do and how it can impact the lives of people. Because, and this may be silly to say, California is not Africa. Things that we invent in Mountain View will not work properly in Mombasa because we didn't have the understanding. We don't have and we are here to build up that understanding. And we are also partnering with organizations. I mean, there's Bernard's pictures here with the Global Innovation Hub, the Global Disability Hub. We're partnering with experts to try to understand what the opportunities are, where can we push these things, and where can we drive these things together. And for me, it's been also a big personal learning. Coming from California, I thought technology can solve everything. So I literally came here thinking, we'll get AI credits, and we'll provide easy access to ads, and every idea that I had was wrong. What I learned is all the easy stuff is probably done. What I learned is access to physical space, making it easy for people to collaborate, is a whole lot harder than you think, and digital is not the same. What I learned is logistical challenges are more important than technological ones in many ways. Another thing that I learned is that we have a lot to learn from each other. Google, big tech companies, governments can learn a lot from the hustlepreneur ethos. But if we're to do this right together, the hustlepreneurs need to learn and be patient with us large organizations because we're a little slower. But if we can learn to work together well, we can work together fast. So now, our expectation coming into Africa is different. We want to understand what disability is like in Africa. We want to understand how we can make more helpful and thoughtful products. We want to know how we can support the hustlepreneurs creating assistive technology across Africa. So why would you want to build for inclusion? Why would you want to build, oh, I'm sorry, why would you want to build accessibly underneath? Why? Well, because the market is there. There's over 100 million people in Africa alone with disabilities. There's $8 trillion in business opportunity across the world for people with disabilities and their friends and family. That's real. Building tools in Africa solves problems in other places. Something we solve here in Africa can impact the lives of people in Thailand. It can frankly help people in America. The solutions are common. The constraints are common no matter where you are. And then, oops, wrong page. And then how do you start? The most important thing is that you start. And you start inclusively. You build with the community. You hire the community. You design with the community. And understand what the problems are and solve them together. And you don't have to do it alone. I didn't realize that the slides would be like this. But you don't have to do this alone. There are organizations around the world that support people building assistive technologies. And as more and more big tech comes into Africa, you'll see more and more opportunities for collaboration, more and more opportunities to build a better world together. And then when you start doing this, you have, unfortunately, almost near exclusive access to this community. According to WebAIM, only 3% of websites are fully accessible. That's a problem. But if you're one of those 3%, you have access to all the people with disabilities. So the other 97% of the companies, they don't have access. And you get better. So by the time they try to catch up to you, you're far better than they've ever been. So that's a great business advantage as well. And finally, a more accessible, a more inclusive design is easier to use, it's more helpful. And these things matter when it comes to the marketplace of ideas, and the marketplace of products. And now is the time to do this. We just watched the amazing presentation. I gotta say, you all know how to throw a party. I was not expecting to see fireworks coming up at an event like this. But with the new regulations, we now have a common language for accessibility, which what this means is it is easy for people to export accessible products because we know what's expected, because this regulation is based off the international standard of the EN 501, blah, blah. I'm dyslexic, I'm not gonna be able to get it out, I'm sorry. But it's a common standard. With this common standard, it's easy to import and export your products. And it provides a common language, so we all know what we're talking about. And then finally, it's also flexible. This is a living document. It can be changed. But I just want to give you one piece of advice. Don't change it too frequently. Because if you change it too often, people will wait until the next change because they won't have a chance to really have adapted to the last one. So take this responsibility seriously. Allow it to change, but do it in a thoughtful, not slow, but in a thoughtful manner. Because then people will have a chance to really take advantage of it. Finally, by building inclusively, by building accessibly, you have an opportunity for your business to do well by doing good. And this is important because you don't always know who it's for. It could be for your friends, your family. It could be for you. Making products, building products for Africa truly can make building and making products for the world better. The needs here are common across the world. The challenges here are common across the world, and we can do these things together. And if you want to do these things together, pardon a little bit of sales pitch, but we're hiring here. Careers. You can't see it, but careers.google.com. I'm sorry, I had to try. Asante sana. Thank you.